County General's emergency department at 2:47 in the morning carries its own particular silence. Not quiet, never quiet, but a low hum of fluorescent lights and distant monitors and the shuffle of feet on linoleum that has been mopped and remopped until it reflects the yellow overhead glow in streaks. The smell is antiseptic with an undercurrent of coffee gone cold and something else, something human and afraid that no amount of disinfectant ever quite covers. The child coughs somewhere behind the vending machines. A woman speaks softly in Spanish on her phone. The automatic doors inhale and exhale with each arrival, each departure. Dr. Maya Reyes wipes down the gurney in Bay 4 with methodical precision. 32 years old, brown skin, dark hair pulled into a bun so tight it must ache by hour 10 of her shift. Navy scrubs that have been washed into softness. No jewelry except a bracelet on her left wrist, paracord in forest green and tan, frayed at the edges where the weave has begun to separate. She moves like someone who learned efficiency in a place where wasted motion meant wasted time meant wasted lives. She wipes the rails twice, checks the oxygen flow even though the last patient was discharged an hour ago, resets the monitor cables into their holder. All the leads separated by color, red with red, white with white. No one asked her to do this. No one notices when she does. Dr. Brandon Chen leans against the nurses' station 10 feet away, tablet in hand, not looking up. 29 years old on paper, attending physician for 8 months, confident in the way of people who have never been told they cannot do something. His voice carries the casual authority of someone used to being listened to. Maya. We need coffee runs when you get a chance. She glances over, nods once, doesn't argue. And check if pharmacy sent up the standing order forms. Someone has to do the grunt work, right? Nurse Jenna laughs from behind the computer, light and easy. 24, blonde, 2 years out of school and already comfortable in her own skin in a way Maya never has been here. At least she's thorough, I'll give her that. Maya's hands pause on the gurney rail for half a second. Then she finishes wiping it down, folds the disinfectant cloth into quarters, drops it in the hazard bin. She moves to the next bay without a word. Did you see her during that MVA last week? Jenna's voice drifts down the hall, not quite low enough. She kept asking the paramedics about mechanism of injury like she was writing a research paper. It's a car crash, not a dissertation defense. Brandon's smirk is audible in his voice. She's careful. I respect that. But trauma isn't about being careful. You need instinct. You need to move fast and trust your gut. She overthinks everything. Maya stops at the medication cart. Her jaw tightens just enough to make the muscle visible. She opens the top drawer, counts the intubation kits without touching. Gum them, just her eyes moving left to right. 7, all accounted for. She closes the drawer with a sound like a whisper. She had seen the steering wheel compression on that MVA patient. The passenger side intrusion measuring 14 inches. The star pattern fracture on the windshield exactly where the man's head would have impacted. She had called the splenic laceration 6 minutes before the CT confirmed it. Told them to type and cross before he showed signs of shock. No one had mentioned that. They mentioned her questions. She walks to the supply closet at the end of the hall. The door swings open on hinges that need oil. Inside, the fluorescent light flickers once before holding steady. She restocks the IV start kits, checking expiration dates, rotating stock the way she was trained, a long time ago in a place that feels both distant and immediate. Her fingers brush against the 14-gauge needles. The kind you use when someone is crashing hard and you have one shot to get access before the veins collapse. Her hands don't shake. They never shake. Not anymore. Not after everything. Behind her in the hall, Brandon's voice again. Softer now, but still carrying. She's sweet, I mean that. But trauma's not for everyone. You need a certain hardness for this work. Some people are just built different. Maya's thumb finds the knot in her paracord bracelet. Rubs it once. Her eyes close. Helmand Province, dust in her mouth, blood on her gloves, the weight of a rifle she wasn't supposed to carry, but did anyway, because the rules were different when the mortars started falling. She blinks. The supply closet comes back into focus. Shelves, boxes, order. She turns and walks back into the light of the hallway, her steps soundless on the linoleum. No one looks up as she passes. She moves to the break room. Starts a fresh pot of coffee no one asked for, but everyone will drink. She stands there while it brews, watching the dark liquid drip into the pot, listening to the hiss and sputter of the machine. The paracord bracelet catches the light. Worn, faded, still knotted. Some things you don't take off. Some things stay with you no matter how far you run from who you used to be. 3:18 in the morning, and Maya stands alone in the main supply room at the back of the emergency department, where the lighting is different, older, the kind of fluorescent tubes that hum at a lower frequency and flicker just enough to notice if you stand still too long. The air is cooler here, away from the patient bays, and it smells like cardboard and plastic wrap and that particular sterile emptiness of a place designed to hold things until they are needed. She reaches for a box of chest seals on the upper shelf. Her hand stops midair. The hum of the lights shifts in her ears, drops lower, becomes the sound of a generator running outside a canvas tent in 115-degree heat. The smell changes, dust and copper and the sharp medicinal sting of combat. Gauze torn open in a hurry. A young Marine on a litter, 19 years old, sucking chest wound, his eyes wide and locked on hers, because she was the only thing between him and the dark. "Duck, am I gonna make it?" Her voice, steady, calm, like she was discussing the weather. "Stay with me, Vargas. Eyes on me. Breathe when I tell you to breathe." Maya blinks. The supply room comes back. She pulls the box down, logs it on the clipboard hanging by the door. Her handwriting small and precise. She moves to the next shelf, restocks the trauma shears, counts the tourniquets, even though no one else does. Footsteps in the hallway. Heavy, deliberate. Charge nurse Rick appears in the doorway, 56 years old, gray at the temples. Former paramedic who worked the streets for 20 years before his knees gave out and he moved inside. He has seen everything twice and believes very little of what people tell him until he sees it himself. "You good?" Maya doesn't turn around. "Yeah, just restocking." He leans against the doorframe, arms crossed, watching him move through the shelves. She doesn't look at labels. Doesn't hesitate. Her hands go exactly where they need to go, like she has done this in the dark. Like she has done this while the world was ending around her. "You prior service?" Her shoulders stiffen. Just a fraction. Just enough. "No." Rick tilts his head. His eyes narrow slightly. "Huh." He doesn't push. Doesn't ask again. Just watches her for another 3 seconds and then walks away. His footsteps fading back down the hall toward the nurse's station. Maya stands still. Her hands rest on the shelf in front of her. She exhales slowly, carefully, like she is trying not to disturb something fragile inside her chest. Her thumb finds the paracord bracelet. The knot is smooth from years of rubbing. She closes her eyes. They had told her to take it off before she left. Part of the transition counseling. A Navy psychologist with kind eyes and a voice like warm honey. "You're not that person anymore, Petty Officer Reyes. You're going back to the world. You need to let yourself be civilian again." She had nodded, agreed, said all the right things in all the right ways so they would sign the papers and let her go. She kept the bracelet anyway, because some things you don't take off. Some things are the only proof that the person you were actually existed, that the things you did and saw and survived were real, and not some nightmare you invented to explain why you wake up at 3 in the morning with your heart trying to break through your ribs. She opens her eyes, finishes the inventory, hangs the clipboard back on its hook, turns off the light and walks back into the fluorescent brightness of the ER, where people move and talk and laugh and have no idea what it sounds like when someone drowns in their own blood. She stops at the water fountain, drinks. The water is metallic and cold. She straightens and sees her reflection in the dark window across the hall. Tired eyes, tied back hair, scrubs that fit like everyone else's. No one would know. No one could tell. That was the point. She walks back to Bay 4, checks the gurney one more time, smooths the sheet even though it doesn't need smoothing. Her hands are steady. They are always steady now. She learned how to make them steady when steadiness was the only thing standing between 18-year-old kid and a body bag. Jenna passes by with a tablet, barely glances at her. Brandon is in Bay 2 with a patient, his voice confident and sure. Rick is at the station, reading something on the computer screen. Maya stands in the center of the empty bay, alone, invisible, safe, the way she wanted it, the way it has to be. Because if they knew, if they ever found out, she would stop being Maya, the overcautious resident, and become Maya the veteran, Maya the medic, Maya the woman who carried the weight of other people's lives in her hands while bullets cracked overhead. And she cannot be that person anymore. She survived it once. She will not survive it again. So she wipes down gurneys, makes coffee, restocks supplies, keeps her head down and her mouth shut, and her past buried so deep that sometimes, in the bright safety of a civilian emergency room, she can almost convince herself it never happened. Almost 4:02 in the morning, and the ambulance bay doors explode inward with a rush of cold air and diesel fumes and the hard rubber smell of gurney wheels spinning too fast. 2 paramedics push through, faces tight, moving with the kind of speed that means something has already gone wrong. 5-year-old male, unresponsive, pulled from a backyard pool. Maya's head snaps up from the medication cart. Parents found him floating. Unknown downtime. CPR in progress for 6 minutes. Got pulses back but vitals are unstable. Oxygen sat 76 and dropping. Brandon is already moving toward the trauma bay. Jenna right behind him. Rick hits the intercom for respiratory therapy. Maya follows, her feet carrying her without decision. The boy on the gurney is small and gray-blue, his wet hair plastered flat against his forehead. Someone's SpongeBob towel is still wrapped around his waist. His chest rises in weak, irregular gasps and then stops completely. "Bag him." Brandon's voice cuts through the noise. Jenna grabs the bag valve mask, fits it over the boy's face, squeezes. The chest doesn't rise. Not moving air. Her voice climbs half an octave. Brandon reaches for the laryngoscope, his hands fast and practiced. "I'm going in." He positions himself at the head of the bed, inserts the blade. The boy's mouth opens. Brandon adjusts the angle, looking for the vocal cords. His jaw tightens. Can't visualize. Airway swollen. He pulls back. Tries again. The blade goes in. 5 seconds. 10. 15. Nothing. "Come on." Brandon's forehead is shining under the lights. The monitor alarms. Heart rate dropping. "Chipping. 72. 68. 61. Let me try." Jenna moves in as Brandon steps back. She takes the laryngoscope, positions the blade. The boy's lips are deepening from blue to purple. She adjusts, pushes. The tube won't pass. "I can't get it." Maya steps closer. Her voice is quiet, but it cuts through everything. "Pull the jaw forward, 45-degree angle. Use a bougie first." Brandon glances at her, sweat on his upper lip. "I know how to intubate." He's got laryngospasm from the aspiration. The cords are closed. You need to guide it blind with the bougie, then railroad the tube over it. Maya stepped back. His oxygen saturation is 62. You've got maybe one more attempt before he arrests. The monitor shrieks, heart rate 54. Rick looks at Maya, then at Brandon. His voice is flat. "Do it." Brandon's hand hovers over the airway kit for half a second. Then he grabs the bougie. A long, flexible stylet, thin as a pencil. He lifts the boy's jaw with his left hand, angling it up and forward the way Maya said. Slides the bougie in slowly, blind, feeling for resistance. It catches. He adjusts, pushes gently. The bougie slides deeper. "I'm in." He threads the endotracheal tube over the bougie like a rail, follows it down into the airway, removes the bougie, attaches the bag. Jenna squeezes. The boy's chest rises. She listens with her stethoscope. Moving from side to side. Breath sounds equal. We're in. The monitor steadies. Oxygen saturation climbs. 68, 74, 81, 87. The blue fades from the boy's lips. Pink returns. Slow but real. Brandon stands back, breathing hard. He pulls off his gloves. Doesn't look at Maya. Jenna secures the tube with tape. Her hands automatic, but her eyes flick toward Maya twice. Confused. Cautious. Rick draws up sedation medications. The boy's heart rate stabilizes at 96. The respiratory therapist arrives and takes over bagging. Brandon washes his hands at the sink, his back to the room. His shoulders are tight. Jenna moves to Maya's side, her voice low. "How did you know that?" Maya wipes her hands on her scrubs, even though she didn't touch the patient. "I read a lot." "That wasn't from reading." Maya doesn't answer. She turns and walks toward the door. Rick watches her go. His eyes are narrow and thoughtful. He has seen a lot of doctors in his 20 years as a nurse. He has seen confidence and he has seen competence, and he knows the difference. What he just saw was neither. What he just saw was experience. The kind you don't get from textbooks. The kind you get from doing it when it matters, when there is no time to think, when the answer has to come from muscle memory and a part of the brain that doesn't doubt. He looks back at the boy. Now stable, color returning, chest rising and falling in rhythm with the ventilator. Then he looks at the door where Maya disappeared. Jenna is staring too. Brandon scrubs his hands. Hands a second time, harder than necessary, his jaw clenched. The boy's mother is brought in. She collapses next to the gurney, sobbing, holding his small hand. Is he going to be okay? Rick's voice is gentle. He's stable. We got the airway. He's going to the pediatric ICU. She weeps, thanking God, thanking them. No one mentions Maya, but Rick doesn't forget. And Jenna keeps glancing at the hallway, at the space where Maya stood, at the calm certainty in her voice that didn't belong to someone who just reads a lot. 6:15 in the morning and the emergency department is quieter now, the strange lull that comes after chaos when the adrenaline drains away and leaves everyone hollow and tired. The drowning boy is stable, sedated, already on his way upstairs to the pediatric intensive care unit with his mother walking beside the gurney, holding his hand and whispering prayers in Spanish. Maya sits in the break room with her hands wrapped around a cup of coffee gone lukewarm. She hasn't drunk any of it, just holds it because holding something gives her hands a purpose. The room smells like burnt coffee and the recycled air that comes through the vents, carrying the exhaustion of 100 night shifts. The door opens. A man walks in, mid-40s, wearing a scuffed jacket and jeans and a baseball cap, with an anchor embroidered on the front. He walks with a limp, favoring his left leg, the kind of limp that comes from an injury that healed wrong or didn't heal at all. He stops when he sees her. His face changes, eyes widen, mouth opens slightly. "Doc?" Maya's head snaps up. The coffee cup freezes halfway to her lips. Her face goes pale. "I think you have the wrong person." He takes a step closer, stares at her face, at the paracord bracelet on her wrist. His eyes are filling with something that looks like disbelief and recognition and gratitude all at once. "No," his voice cracks. "No, I don't." Naya stands slowly. Her chair scrapes against the floor. "Sir, I'm not Camp Dwyer, 2014. He's breathing harder now. You saved my leg. You saved my life." The room goes completely still. Jenna is in the doorway with a protein bar halfway to her mouth. Brandon is behind her holding a tablet. Maya's hand tightens on the coffee cup. "You're mistaken. You were Navy, corpsman. We called you Doc Reyes." His voice is shaking. "Some of the guys called you Reyes the Calm because you never panicked. Not once. Not even when everything was falling apart." Her breathing is shallow now, controlled. The way you breathe when you're trying not to let anyone see that you're barely holding on. "I don't know what you're talking about. IED hit our Humvee on a supply run outside Marja." He takes another step forward. His eyes are wet. "I was in the back. Shrapnel tore through my leg, femoral artery. I was bleeding out on the sand, and you came out of nowhere, tied it off with your hands, your bare hands, and you talked to me the whole time." Maya's jaw is so tight it must hurt. "Sir, you told me about your mother, about her tamales. You said she made them every Christmas, and you couldn't wait to get home and eat about 20 of them in one sitting." He laughs, but it comes out wet and broken. "You kept me awake, kept me talking. I would have bled out in 3 minutes. You kept me alive for 40, until the medevac got there." Brandon is staring at Maya. Jenna's mouth is open. A man pulls up his left pant leg. A scar runs from his knee to his groin, thick and angry and poorly healed. "I'm alive because of you." Maya doesn't move, doesn't speak. Rick appears in the doorway behind Brandon. He's been listening. His voice is quiet. "What unit?" The man answers without looking away from Maya. 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines. She was attached as their combat medic. Did 3 tours. Maybe more. I lost count. Jenna's protein bar falls to the floor. Brandon's face has gone blank with shock. Rick's expression doesn't change, but his eyes sharpen. The man steps closer. "You had a tattoo. Right forearm. Anchor in caduceus." Maya's sleeves are down, but every eye in the room drops to her right arm anyway. She takes a step back. Her spine hits the counter. "I need to go." "Wait." The man reaches out, but doesn't touch her. "I just wanted to say thank you. I've been looking for you for years. I heard someone mention a doctor. Reyes in the ER here, and I thought maybe it was you. I had to know." Maya's voice is barely above a whisper. You have me confused with someone else. But her hands are shaking now. Just barely, just enough. The man sees it. His face softens. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I just needed you to know. My daughter just turned 8. I got to walk her to school this morning. Because of you. He reaches into his jacket and pulls out a worn photograph. A little girl with dark curls and a backpack too big for her shoulders, grinning at the camera. Her name is Sophia. I got to see her grow up. He sets the photo on the table. Then he steps back. Thank you, Doc, for everything. He turns and walks out. The break room is silent. Maya stares at the photograph, at the little girl who exists because someone's hands moved fast enough, because someone knew exactly where to press and how hard and for how long. Jenna is the first to speak. Her voice is small. Were you really? Maya picks up the photograph, folds it carefully, puts it in her pocket. Then she walks out without a word. Brandon and Jenna stand frozen. Rick watches her go. Then he follows. He finds her in the stairwell, sitting on the bottom step with her head in her hands. Not crying, just breathing. In and out, slow and controlled. Rick sits down beside her. Doesn't say anything. After a long time, Maya speaks. Her voice is flat, empty. I came here to disappear. I know. I didn't want anyone to know. I know. She looks at him. Her eyes are red but dry. It's going to change everything. Rick nods slowly. Yeah, it is. She drops her head back into her hands. And for the first time in 10 years, Maya Reyes wishes she could disappear completely. 7:03 in the morning, and the first light is starting to filter through the high windows of the emergency department when the radio crackles to life with a burst of static and a voice tight with controlled panic. County General, this is Medic 12. Inbound with mass casualty incident, construction site collapse, multiple critical patients, ETA 4 minutes. Brandon grabs the radio. How many? 6 confirmed, maybe 7. We're still pulling them out. The ER erupts into motion. Rick starts barking orders, pulling people from other departments. Jenna runs to set up trauma bays. Someone hits the overhead page for all available staff. Brandon turns, looking for assignments, looking for control, but his voice wavers. We need to set up. Maya walks out of the stairwell. Her face is different now. Cleared, set, the hesitation is gone. She moves to the center of the nurse's station, and her voice cuts through the chaos like a blade through water. Listen. Everyone stops. Her tone is lower now. Steady. Command without volume. The voice of someone who has done this before, when the stakes were higher, and the resources were less, and there was no backup coming. We're going to handle this the right way. Bay 1 and Bay 2 for airway compromise and respiratory distress. Bay 3 for hemorrhage control. Bay 4 for secondary assessment and stable patients. Brandon, you take anything respiratory. Jenna, you're on IV access and fluid resuscitation. Rick, you handle triage tags and vitals tracking. I'll float and stabilize. Brandon stares at her. Who put you in charge? She looks at him. Her eyes are calm, cold, certain. You can argue with me, or you can save lives. Choose now. He doesn't argue. The doors burst open. Gurneys flood in. Dust-covered men in hard hats and work boots. Blood, screaming. The smell of concrete dust and diesel and fear. Maya moves. First patient, mid-30s, conscious, pelvis crushed, skin pale and clammy, blood pressure dropping. Bilateral large-bore IVs, 18-gauge, lactated ringers wide open. Type and cross for 6 units. Get me a fast exam and someone call orthopedics now. Jenna moves without hesitation this time. No questions. Second patient, 50-something, respiratory distress. Trachea deviated to the right, neck veins distended, absent breath sounds on the left side. Maya doesn't wait for imaging. She palpates the chest, feels the crackling under the skin, sees the deviation. Tension pneumothorax. I need a 14-gauge needle and a chest tube kit. Jenna stops. Shouldn't we get a chest x-ray first? He'll be dead in 90 seconds. Move. Jenna grabs the kit. Maya preps the site. 5th intercostal space, mid-axillary line. Inserts the needle, the hiss of escaping. Air is immediate and loud. The patient gasps. His color shifts from gray to pink. Tube him. She has the chest tube in within 2 minutes. No wasted motion, no hesitation. Third patient, unresponsive, head trauma, pupils unequal. Maya checks the skull, feels the depression fracture, checks motor response. Subdural hematoma. Get him to CT and call neurosurgery. He needs an OR in the next 30 minutes or he's gone. Rick is already on the phone. Fourth patient. Fifth. Sixth. Maya moves between them like water flowing downhill, inevitable and precise. Her voice never rises, never shakes. She is 3 steps ahead of everyone, seeing the patterns, seeing what will fail before it fails, calling it out in clear declarative sentences that leave no room for doubt. The ER begins to flow around her. She is the center, the axis. Everyone else orbits, and then the sound comes, low and heavy and unmistakable. The thud of rotor blades beating the air. Everyone stops, looks up. Through the windows they can see it. A Black Hawk helicopter settling onto the parking lot. Downwash flattening the grass, dust rising in clouds. The rotors slow. The side door opens. 2 figures step out. Navy uniforms, crisp and dark against the morning sun. They walk toward the entrance with purpose. Brandon's face goes pale. Jenna takes a step back. The officers enter through the main doors. The taller one is a commander. Oak leaves on his collar. Ribbons across his chest. The other is a lieutenant, younger, carrying a folder. They walk directly to Maya. The commander stops in front of her. His face is professional, respectful. Petty Officer First Class Reyes. Maya's hands are still gloved, still bloody. She doesn't move. I'm not active duty anymore, sir. That's not what your file says. You're still in the individual ready reserve. Brandon is staring. Jenna's mouth is open. Rick stands perfectly still. The commander's voice is firm but not unkind. We need you. Field hospital setup. Overseas deployment. Wheels up in 72 hours. Maya shakes her head once. I'm done, Commander. You were the best combat medic we had in theater. 3 tours, 47 lives saved under direct fire. This isn't a request we make lightly. I said no. The commander studies her for a long moment. Then he turns to face the room. To face Brandon and Jenna and Rick and the dozen other staff members who have stopped to watch. His voice carries. This woman saved over 40 lives in active combat zones. She earned a Navy Cross for valor. She was recommended for a commission twice. Turned it down both times because she wanted to be on the ground where it mattered. Silence. Jenna's face has gone white. Brandon can't speak. The commander looks back at Maya. You don't owe us anything, petty officer. But they owe you everything. He salutes her. Slow, deliberate, full respect. Maya doesn't return it. Her hands stay at her sides. The commander holds it for 3 seconds, then drops his hand, nods once. If you change your mind. He turns and walks out. A lieutenant follows. The sound of the rotors spins up again. The helicopter lifts, disappears into the morning sky. The ER is completely silent. Every eye is on Maya. She pulls off her gloves, drops them in the hazard bin, turns back to the patient in front of her. We're not done. Let's finish this. Her voice is steady. Her hands don't shake. 11:47 in the morning, and the emergency department has stabilized. All 6 patients from the construction site are alive. 3 in surgery, 2 in intensive care, 1 discharged with stitches and a story he will tell for the rest of his life. The chaos has faded into the quiet hum of a functional trauma center doing what it was built to do. Maya sits alone in the locker room. The fluorescent lights are dimmer here, older, and the air smells like industrial detergent and the faint residue of too many people changing in and out of scrubs over too many years. She stares at her hands. They are clean now, scrubbed, but she can still feel the blood, the way it dries tacky between your fingers if you don't wash fast enough. The door opens. Rick walks in, doesn't knock, doesn't ask permission, just walks in and sits on the bench across from her. He doesn't say anything for a long time. The silence stretches. A minute, 2. Finally, his voice comes low and even. Why didn't you tell anyone? Maya keeps staring at her hands. Because I didn't want to be that person anymore. What person? The one who's only useful when people are dying. Her voice cracks. Just once. Just enough. Rick waits. Maya's thumb finds the paracord bracelet, rubs the knot smooth and worn from 10 years of the same motion. I lost my whole unit in Helmand Province. The words come slow. Like H1 cost something. Ambush. We were doing a routine patrol near a village we thought was secure. It wasn't. They hit us with small arms fire and RPGs from 3 sides. I was the only medic. She stops, breathes. There were 8 of them. I tried to get to all of them, tried to stop the bleeding, keep their airways open, keep them talking. But there were too many, too much damage. And I had to choose. Her voice drops to barely above a whisper. I had to decide who got the tourniquet, who got the chest seal, who got my hands, and who got to bleed out while I worked on someone else. Rick doesn't move. I saved 3, lost 5. Her eyes are wet now, but she doesn't blink. One of them was 19. He kept asking me if he was going to make it, and I told him yes, because what else do you say? He died while I was working on someone else. He called for me, and I couldn't get to him. Her hands are shaking. They gave me a medal, called me a hero, put me in front of reporters and officers, and people who wanted to shake my hand and thank me for my service. And all I could see were the 5 faces. The ones I couldn't save. She finally looks up at Rick. Her face is raw. So I left, went to school, became a doctor, thought if I could just be normal, just blend in, just be another resident who makes coffee and restocks supplies and doesn't have to choose who lives and who dies, maybe I could forget. Did it work? No. Rick leans forward, elbows on his knees. You saved 6 people today, Maya. You kept this entire ER from falling apart. You did what no one else could do, because I've done it before when it was worse. Exactly. His voice is firm now. That's not something to hide. That's something we need. Maya shakes her head. I'm tired, Rick. I'm tired of being the one who has to be strong. I'm tired of carrying it. Then let someone else carry it for a while. She looks at him, searching his face for something. Permission, maybe, or forgiveness. But don't pretend you're less than you are. Rick's voice softens. The world needs people like you. This ER needs you. Not the version of you that hides and stays quiet. The real you. Maya closes her eyes. A tear runs down her cheek. She doesn't wipe it away. I don't know if I can do this again. You just did. She opens her eyes. Rick stands, puts a hand on her shoulder. The grip is solid, grounding. You don't have to decide everything right now. But you also don't have to run anymore. He walks to the door, stops, looks back. That man this morning, the one with the little girl. You gave him his whole life back. And those construction workers today, they're going home to their families. That's not nothing, Maya. That's everything. He leaves. Maya sits in the silence. She pulls the photograph out of her pocket. The little girl, Sophia, 8 years old, backpack too big, smile too bright. She unfolds it carefully, looks at it for a long time. Then she stands, walks to her locker, opens it. Inside, tucked in the back behind her street clothes, is a small wooden box. She takes it out, opens it. A Navy cross, the medal they gave her. She hasn't looked at it in 6 years. Beneath it, a photograph. Her unit. 8 faces, young, smiling, alive. She touches each face, whispers their names like a prayer. Vargas, Chen, Dalase, Rodriguez, Mills. Her voice breaks. She closes the box, holds it against her chest, and for the first time in 10 years, Maya Reyes lets herself cry. Not the silent tears she's allowed herself in dark rooms at 3 a.m. Real crying, the kind that shakes your shoulders and empties your chest and leaves you hollowed out and somehow lighter. She cries for the ones she lost, for the ones she saved, for the person she was and the person she tried to become, and the person she actually is underneath all the hiding. When she's done, she washes her face, looks at herself in the mirror. Her eyes are red, her face is blotchy, but something has shifted. She puts the box back in her locker, keeps it open this time, visible. Ibel, she walks out of the locker room. Brandon is in the hallway. He sees her, opens his mouth, closes it, then finally speaks. I owe you an apology. His voice is quiet, genuine. Maya stops. I underestimated you. I disrespected you. And people almost died because I didn't listen. He extends his hand. Maya looks at it, then takes it. We all did what we could. No, Brandon shakes his head. You did what needed to be done. There's a difference. He lets go, nods once, walks away. Jenna approaches next. Her eyes are red too. I'm sorry, her voice is small. I said things I didn't understand. Maya nods. It's okay. It's not. but thank you. Maya puts a hand on her shoulder, squeezes once, then lets go. She walks back into the ER. The light is different now, brighter, or maybe she's just seeing it differently. 3 days later, and Maya walks into the emergency department for her next shift at 6:58 in the evening. The automatic doors slide open with their familiar hiss. The smell hits her first, antiseptic and coffee, and something indefinable that belongs only to hospitals. The fluorescent lights hum overhead. Everything looks the same as it did 72 hours ago, but it isn't. The moment she steps through the doors, the room goes quiet. Not silent. The monitors still beep, the phones still ring. But the conversations stop, heads turn. Maya's chest tightens. She keeps walking toward the nurse's station. Brandon steps forward first. He's holding a coffee cup and his tablet, and for a moment he just stands there, looking at her, like he's trying to figure out what to say. Then he sets both down on the counter. "I owe you an apology." His voice is steady, genuine, loud enough for everyone to hear. "I underestimated you from the day you started here. I disrespected your experience. I dismissed your input. And people almost died because I was too arrogant to listen." He extends his hand. "I'm sorry." Maya looks at his hand, then at his face. His eyes are clear. No performance, no audience work, just honesty. She takes his hand. "We all do the best we can with what we know. Maybe." Brandon's grip is firm. "But you knew better and I didn't listen. That won't happen again." He lets go, steps back. Jenna comes next. Her eyes are red-rimmed, and she's holding a tissue in one hand. "I'm so sorry, Maya." Her voice wobbles. "I said horrible things. I judged you. I made assumptions. And you saved that little boy's life, while I was standing there useless." Maya shakes her head. "You weren't useless. You did your job." "I did the minimum. You did what no one else could." Jenna wipes her eyes. "I want to learn from you, if you'll let me." Maya nods. "Okay." Jenna hugs her, quick and tight, and then she steps back, embarrassed. Rick is at the desk. He catches Maya's eye and nods once, no words needed. The chief of medicine appears from the hallway. Dr. Patricia Okafor, 56, gray hair cut short. 25 years running emergency departments. She walks with the calm authority of someone who has earned every ounce of respect she commands. She stops in front of Maya. "Dr. Reyes, my office, please." Maya's stomach drops. She follows. The office is small and windowless and smells like old paper and the faint vanilla of whatever air freshener the cleaning crew uses. Dr. Okafor sits behind her desk, gestures to the chair across from her. Maya sits. "Dr. Okafor." Okafor folds her hands on the desk. "I received 3 incident reports about what happened during the mass casualty event. All of them praised your performance. All of them also noted that you took command of the ER without authorization." Maya's jaw tightens. "I did what needed to be done." "I know." Dr. Okafor's face softens. "I also received a call from a Navy commander asking about your current status. And I had a very interesting conversation with Charge Nurse Rick about your background." Silence. "Why didn't you tell us?" Maya looks down at her hands. "Because I wanted to be just another doctor." "You're not just another doctor. You never were." Dr. Okafor leans forward. "I'm implementing a new protocol, effective immediately. Experience in all forms will be valued and respected in this department. Trauma response training will be mandatory for all staff. And I'm asking you to lead it." Maya's head snaps up. "What?" "You have skills this department desperately needs. Not just technical skills. Leadership under pressure. Calm in chaos. I'm offering you a position as trauma response coordinator. You'd still see patients, but you'd also train staff, develop protocols, and oversee critical incidents." Maya stares at her. "I'm just a second-year resident. You're a decorated combat medic with more real-world trauma experience than most of my attendings combined." Dr. Okafor's voice is firm. "I'm not asking you to be who you were. I'm asking you to share what you know so fewer people die in my ER." Maya's throat tightens. "You don't have to decide right now, but think about it." Dr. Okafor stands, extends her hand. "Thank you for what you did. You saved lives. That's what we're here for." Maya shakes her hand, walks back out into the ER. There's a new bulletin on the board by the nurse's station, printed on official hospital letterhead. "New protocol, trauma response standards. All emergency department staff will undergo quarterly trauma training." Experience will be valued regardless of rank or title. Questions will be answered with respect. Competence will be recognized. Signed by Dr. Patricia Okafor, Chief of Emergency Medicine. Brandon is reading it. He looks at Maya, nods. Jenna is reading it too. She smiles. Over the next 2 weeks, things change. Maya runs her first training session. 10 residents and nurses in the simulation lab. She walks them through airway management, hemorrhage control, needle decompression. She doesn't lecture. She shows. She lets them practice. She corrects gently and explains clearly. Brandon attends, takes notes, asks questions without ego. Jenna practices tourniquet placement until her hands move without thinking. Rick watches from the back of the room, arms crossed, a small smile on his face. The second session has 20 people. The third has 35. Word spreads. The residents from other departments start showing up. The surgical interns, even a few attendings. Maya teaches them what she knows. Not as a soldier, as a teacher. And they listen. One evening, Brandon stops her in the hallway. I want you to co-lead the new trauma protocols with me. Official capacity. We'll present to the board together. Maya hesitates, then nods. Okay. They work on it for 3 weeks. Evidence-based guidelines combined with field-tested practical approaches. It's thorough. It's smart. It works. The board approves it unanimously. County General becomes the first hospital in the region to implement combat medicine-informed civilian trauma care. 2 months later, a teenager comes in from a car crash. Femoral artery laceration, bleeding out. Jenna is on shift. She doesn't hesitate, applies direct pressure, calls for a tourniquet, stays calm, keeps the patient talking. The kid survives. Jenna finds Maya afterward. She's crying. I did it. I actually did it. Maya hugs her. Yes, you did. 6 months later, and County General stands under a cold November sky. The kind of gray morning where the clouds hang low and the air smells like coming rain. A crowd has gathered in front of the new wing, the one that took 8 months to build and cost the hospital foundation $2 million in fundraising. News cameras, hospital administrators in suits, staff in scrubs standing in clusters. Maya stands near the front in her navy dress uniform. White and crisp and covered in ribbons she earned in places most of these people have never heard of. She hasn't worn it in 10 years. It fits differently now. Tighter in some places, looser in others, but it still fits. Dr. Okafor stands at the podium. Her voice carries across the crowd through speakers that crackle slightly in the damp air. Today we dedicate the Reyes Center for Trauma Excellence, named not for rank or title, but for the principle that experience comes in many forms, and all of it matters. This facility will train the next generation of emergency responders in techniques that save lives when seconds count. She turns, looks at Maya. Dr. Maya Reyes served 3 tours as a Navy corpsman attached to Marine infantry units. She saved over 40 lives under direct enemy fire. She earned a Navy Cross for extraordinary heroism. She came here wanting nothing more than to disappear into the background of civilian medicine. The crowd is silent, but competence doesn't stay hidden, and when crisis came, she stepped forward not because she wanted recognition, but because people needed help. That's the spirit. Spirit we want to cultivate here. Service above self, skill without ego, excellence without exception. Applause rises. Maya's face stays neutral, but her hands are clasped tight in front of her. Dr. Okafor gestures toward the ribbons stretched across the door. Dr. Reyes, would you do the honors? Maya steps forward. Brandon hands her the oversized scissors. She positions them on the ribbon. Flash of cameras, murmur of voices. She cuts. The ribbon falls. The doors open. Inside. The facility gleams. Simulation bays with hydraulic mannequins, surgical training stations, walls covered with protocols and diagrams. Everything designed to teach what Maya learned in dust and heat and the worst moments of other people's lives. The crowd moves inside, tours the space, asks questions. Maya stands near the entrance, watching residents practice chest tube insertion on simulation models. Jenna is demonstrating tourniquet placement to a group of nursing students. Brandon is walking a young intern through needle decompression technique. A little girl approaches, maybe 7 years old, dark curls, big eyes, holding her mother's hand. She looks up at Maya, at the uniform, at the ribbons. Are you a hero? Maya kneels down. Eye level. No, sweetie. I'm just someone who didn't give up. The girl thinks about this. My dad says not giving up is the most important thing. Your dad is right. The girl smiles, runs off. Her mother mouths thank you and follows. Maya stands, turns. Rick is beside her. He's wearing slacks and a button-down instead of scrubs. Clean-shaven, almost unrecognizable. You clean up nice, Maya says. Special occasion. He looks around the center. You did this. We did this. No. Rick shakes his head. You were willing to be seen. That's what changed everything. They stand in comfortable silence, watching the organized chaos of people learning how to save lives. Brandon approaches. He's holding 2 cups of coffee, offers one to Maya. She takes it. Thanks. I've been thinking about what you said, about choosing who lives and who dies. His voice is quiet, serious. I can't imagine carrying that. You do carry it. Every time you make a decision in the ER, you just don't think about it that way. Maybe that's a mercy. Maybe. They watch Jenna successfully place an IV in a training arm on her first attempt. She pumps her fist. The nursing students cheer. Brandon smiles. She's good now, really good. She always was. She just needed to believe it. A reporter approaches with a camera crew. Dr. Reyes, can we get a statement? Maya hesitates, looks at Rick. He nods. She turns to the camera. This center isn't about me. It's about the idea that everyone has something to teach, and everyone has something to learn. Experience doesn't always come with a title. Wisdom doesn't always come with a degree. Sometimes, the person who knows what to do is the one you least expect. The reporter leans in. What would you say to someone who feels like their past disqualifies them from their future? Maya is quiet for a moment, thinking. I'd say your past doesn't define you unless you let it. What you've survived can become what you offer. The things that broke you can become the things that make you useful. You just have to be willing to show up as you really are. The camera stays on her face. And if people underestimate you, Maya's expression doesn't change. Let your work speak. The interview ends. The reporter thanks her, moves on to Dr. Okafor. Maya walks to the observation window overlooking the main training floor. Watches the organized chaos below. People learning, growing, preparing for the worst moments of their professional lives. Her reflection stares back at her in the glass. Navy uniform. Paracord bracelet still on her wrist beneath the sleeve. She touches it through the fabric. Behind her, voices, laughter. The sound of a simulation alarm going off and residents scrambling to respond. Life continuing, work happening, people preparing to do hard things. Maya closes her eyes, takes a breath. When she opens them, the veteran from 6 months ago is standing beside her. The one who recognized her. He's wearing a suit now, walking without the limp. His daughter is beside him, the same girl from the photograph, Sophia, bigger now, backpack on, school uniform. He sees Maya. His face breaks into a smile. Doc. Maya turns, smiles back. Hey, I wanted Sophia to meet you. He puts his hand on his daughter's shoulder. This is the woman I told you about. Sophia looks up at Maya with wide, serious eyes. You saved my dad. I helped him. A lot of people helped him. He says you're the reason I have a dad. Maya kneels down again, looks Sophia in the eyes. And you're the reason he fought so hard to stay alive. He had something to come home to. That's the most important part. Sophia throws her arms around Maya's neck, hugs tight. Maya's breath catches. She hugs back. When Sophia lets go, she's smiling. The veteran shakes Maya's hand. Thank you. For everything. For then. For now. For this. He gestures at the center. Maya nods. Can't quite speak. They leave. Rick appears beside her again. You okay? Maya wipes her eyes. Yeah, I'm okay. Good. They stand together, watching the future take shape in front of them. Outside, the clouds break. Sunlight streams through the high windows, bright and clean and new. Maya takes a breath, lets it out slow. For the first time in 10 years, she feels like she's exactly where she's supposed to be. Not hiding, not running, not pretending to be less than she is. Just standing in the light, doing the work, offering what she knows, being enough. The paracord bracelet rests against her wrist, worn, faded, still knotted. She doesn't take it off. Some things you carry forever, but now they feel lighter. Now they feel like proof. Not of what was lost, but of what remains.